You call 1-800-8888-TEXT. You'll get this free 264-page Texas travel book. Come on. You can walk in the footsteps of Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie at the Alamo. Hi. Boating? No problem, because Texas has over 5,000 square miles of water. And even out here, you'll still find the friendliest people. Thanks. Texas, it's like a whole other country.
Moonlight on the mountain, sunrise on the sea, the lushnet of the forest, softness of the breeze.
Try a different point of view in Texas, and the wild, wild west, the big city west, is the mighty friendly people. Try a different point of view in Texas.
The Texas Tourist Agency urges you to vacation in Texas.
Holy cow, Craig Sullivan. We are live with a special Wednesday edition of Friday Night Audit. Friday Night Audit Wednesday edition. That's right. I'm excited. Craig, we are at AHOA. We're having a great time.
AHOACon together again, twice in 2 weeks.
Yeah, baby.
After a lockup of a year and a half, I can't stand it. We've got people. We've got guests. I've got you next to me. How the hell did that happen?
I don't know, but that sounds to me like it's time for an audit. My friend, this is so exciting, I got to tell you, because finally we're amongst people that we know love to drink. And of course, we're talking about the AHOA crowd.
Yes, we are. And you know what? This has been the best event we've been to this year.
Faint praise from Craig Sullivan, everybody. Well, that's kind of how you know it's going to go, everybody. I want to thank everybody for joining us here on Friday Night Audit and all of you guys coming together. Thank you so much for being here. Greg, I'm excited because we're out here. We're out on the convention floor. We're seeing the trade show. People are gathered around us. It is so much fun to finally drink professionally instead of being just rookies like we've been doing before.
Well, that, and we're definitely within great company.
Yeah, we're speaking of great company. Let's bring them on
Yes.
right now. We got two great guests. I want to thank Ideas, Sanjay Nagalia and Mike Chuma for being here with us and sponsoring the show tonight. Gentlemen, welcome to Friday Night Audit. I'll be curious to see how quickly you regret being here on the show.
No regrets whatsoever, Glenn. No regrets.
You say that now.
Yeah, well,
Are you sure?
We'll drink to that.
That's for sure. Well, welcome to the show, guys. We really appreciate you being here. So I don't want to get yelled at by producer Dave because I forget to do this every week, but I want to jump right into the cocktail portion of the show. Okay. So you know what that means. It's cocktail time. Uh-oh.
It's
I want to say I'm very proud of you, Glenn, because I was ready. I had the private chat open. I was typing in the message, and you beat me to it. So it's about time. It only took 23 weeks.
Don't mess with Glenn. I nail it every 8 to 10 weeks. I got it down. I'm pretty proud. Guys, you're part of a special moment here because I did not screw up the cocktail opening, which is really great.
Well,
but usually I do.
Well, Sanjay and Mike, I would say
Sanjay, something so special today that I didn't want to mess that up. So, Sanjay, what are we drinking today? Why do you like this particular beverage that's over there?
There you go. Let's get that in the picture and show the label. There you go.
Maybe the box might be better.
Sure. This is.
We are drinking the Glenlivet Founders Edition.
Ooh.
Aged in American oak.
That smells well, it's American oak. If it was American Coke, it might be a little bit more expensive.
All right, so you got the right attitude. I love that. Yeah, well, domestic Coke is always so much more expensive than the other types that are out there.
But let's make sure we're in the land of Dr. Pepper, not Coca-Cola like Atlanta, right? So, that's I think that's a good way to keep that on the clean side there, Glenn. But you're probably asking why did we choose this?
Yes. Let's make this formal. Craig, you want to ask them formally?
Why did you choose it?
Well, the simple fact is it's delicious for one.
Right.
Right. But in honor of you, Glenn.
Yeah. Oh boy.
We thought, Glenn, anything Glenn,
Well,
from the swingers.
this is actually yes, but this
There's
is
logic there.
but this is actually my motto, Glenn Live It, because it's Glenn Live It, and that's what I try to do.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, so but the other aspect too is this is the Founders Reserve, right?
Right.
So this takes us back to 1824 on Speyside when you had the founders of the
Right.
Glenlivet distillery. And we wanted to tie that back to Sanjay.
Right.
Sanjay is a founder of our company Ideas, and we just thought it was just a good opportunity to make that connection and have a delicious sip of scotch.
I will say, Sanjay made a great decision something like 30 years ago to start this company. The decision to be here tonight, not so great, but we're glad that you're here anyway.
I'm sure it'll pull out a good decision.
Yeah. Hey, let's get this mic a little bit closer to you if you don't mind. Over there.
I will say this to
Yes.
Sanjay and Mike. Again, you guys coming on the show, Glenn just made for one of the few times he did the opening right. He really stepped up his game because you guys are here. So you guys are bringing the best out of Glenn. So thank you for making my job easier.
Right. I want everybody out there that's watching right now. Producer Dave is coming on, attempting to insult us, but his sound isn't going through the speakers over there. So you've been brother.
That's no problem. I mean, we try to optimize every situation we can.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay.
So, Sanjay, what came first? Your love of Glenn Live It or creating ideas?
Love of Scotch. I mean, I'm an Indian. I was born in India. I grew up in India before I came over to the US to study. And it's no secret, India drinks the most Scotch in the world. So we've grown up as a Scotch lovers, whether it's Glenlivet or any other Black Label. Black Label is probably the favorite of all of India.
Well, I'm falling in love with this Founders Reserve. Thanks so much for bringing this tonight. I do want to know why everybody gets to drink in glasses and I'm drinking out of plastic. I don't know.
We'll give it a go.
Well, I think it probably has to do with
I'm reaching
how
into my
people
little bag of
Oh, hey!
Yeah.
Look at that. I get to upgrade
see?
over here, everybody.
Once
which is
again,
really great.
Glenn being
That really brings out the
outclassed.
floral notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you all know how to to test to sip this the right way? One of the things that I learned in order to really understand the aroma and stuff like that is you don't really breathe in. You just kind of allow it to come into your nose. Don't do it through your mouth, and you could really get the essence of what it smells like there.
Yeah. So, as you know, there's a wide range of scotches. There's histories behind it, whether you have Highland, Speyside, Islay, and the many different flavor characteristics. Right. But one of the things, a good friend of mine who is Scottish told me that one of the best ways to get through this, especially if you're a beginning Scotch drinker, is to actually put your nose in the glass similar to wine. Right. And wait until the alcohol smell goes away. That way you can, once the alcohol smell goes away, you're able to then taste the notes of what the bouquet is. So I don't know if it's true, but my wife, who is not a Scotch drinker, I told this to her, and apparently she believed me. So, honey, if you're looking and if you're watching, I may or may not have lied to you.
Right.
Listen, guys, I'm sorry. I got to interrupt you because I'm feeling left out.
Dave's back. Well, Dave?
I'm feeling a little left out of here because I know you guys are all together down in Dallas. I'm over here in New York. But listen, you guys are all looking at each other. No one's looking at the camera. So no one's actually including me in the conversation. No one's including the viewers in the conversation then because, I need to be involved. I need to be the center of attention, people. Let's get it right. We know the pecking order now. It's been 23 weeks.
Yeah, that's what we think of you, Dave.
I don't know if you feel too comfortable with the gentleman looking over your shoulder behind you. But,
I know.
I love him.
Why did you introduce
I love
us
it.
Dave, your hotel?
What's that? I'm at the hotel, and I'm actually here right now because we're doing a real cool historical episode of No Vacancy Live upcoming, a first in almost 500 episodes. So make sure next Wednesday, check out No Vacancy Live. It's going to be a brand new concept. We haven't done it before, so check it out.
That's
Congratulations.
Right. We're going to be doing it at Dave's hotel. He's in charge of revenue management, but somehow they're still in business. So hopefully they'll be there next week.
Someone's doing a good job. It's not me.
Yeah, somebody. Not you, but Sanjay. I heard it's your birthday today? Is that?
Well, it's on August 8th.
It's August 8th. All right, so we're close. Well,
we're close.
Well, let's toast to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
That's pretty awesome.
Happy birthday.
And incidentally, my co-founder, his birthday is August 8th. So
Yes, that's pretty crazy. Was that like you had to go out and find somebody with your birthday before starting a company?
Plus he's from he grew up in the same town I grew up. So
that's pretty cool.
I went to the same college I went to.
Wow, that's really interesting.
So
All right, so
Pretty much.
we've got to keep looking at the camera. We
Yeah.
keep looking at each other,
Yeah.
but then everyone at home can't really see us.
New drinking game for everybody out there. Every time that Glenn or Craig don't look at the camera, take a
All
shot.
right. There
Yeah,
you
we
go.
don't have-
Look at you.
Yeah, we'll run out of Glenn Levitt really quickly. We'll have more Glenn Houseman.
Yeah, well,
But to get back to that whole concept though, so founder of Ideas, Ravi Mehrotra and Sanjay, they were born on the same day, August 8th, years apart. So when we look at them, it's like the man who stepped into yesterday. It's really strange. So,
you ever like play Benjamin Button's trick on people or something like that?
every once in a while, I mean, when they conspire on strategies and what, they typically have to mull it over quite a bit.
Right. So. That's pretty funny. So, Sanjay, what was that like? You grew up in India, right? And you had to take a big leap of faith to come to America. That's pretty weird to leave your entire country. So what was it like when you first got here? What surprised you? Because I've seen all these YouTube videos of like German girl in America and, Nepalese guy in New York or whatever it might be. I'm making that one up. And they all seem to be struck by all the weird, strange things that us Americans do that we think are normal.
Right. That's a very good question. I mean, it's keeping in mind my age. It was a long time ago. I came here to study. Higher studies is what attracted me to this country. And when I think back on what struck me, we knew America through movies. I did not have TV at my home, so I only knew America through the movies. But two things especially caught my eye. One was there were no honks, no cars were honking, which is like you go in a street and in there.
I guess you didn't move to New York.
Yeah, no, I was actually in New Jersey living across New York, but generally not much honking relatively. And the other thing was when I was in New Jersey looking at Manhattan and the pink sky, that just blew my mind.
Yeah, well, you got to thank pollution for making the sky so beautiful.
And the lights.
Thanks, global warming. This trick's for you.
Here's to you.
So, Greg, you got a question out there?
How long has Ideas been around? Tell the audience a
30.
little bit more about that, please.
Yes, we were founded in 1989, so if my math is right, it's almost 32 years.
That's insane.
Nice. Yes.
So that's pretty crazy. But I want to talk a little bit more about this America stuff. Mike, what's the weirdest thing that you discovered in America when you realized that you were an American?
That pickles are on everything.
Sure.
And my news
so-
friend are laughing out.
So let's flip the coin then, because you guys are all well-traveled gentlemen.
Yep.
What is maybe, as you guys have traveled throughout the world, the one thing that, wherever you may have been, that kind of stood out to you about that culture, whether it be cool, a little bit different, unique? What's one thing that you kind of remember about your travels? Glenn, I'll
So
start
let
with
me
you.
just recap that for the people that are listening. What are what are some of the things about America and your travels that you found and discovered?
You go ahead.
You go ahead.
Okay. That's a good one. I think I'll say this. So the absolute fantastic thing about being in the travel industry and traveling the world is that it opens your eyes and gives you a much bigger perspective. So when you actually see how other people interpret you as an American, it really makes you think twice about how you conduct yourselves, especially in other cultures that are not as Anglo-centric.
Right.
So, some of the coolest things that I've had the opportunity to do was in the Middle East, just taking a walk through the souks by ourselves and by myself with a couple of friends, riding the boats as locals would. It gives you a sense that there's so much more to see out in the travel industry and just in person. I go back home and tell my kids about all these things, and I say, here, we've got a list of all the places that I want to take my wife and my family and my friends, hopefully to, so we can experience that. Because if you think about the United States, when I realized that I was actually an American, it's a melting pot of all these cultures, and we need to do more to appreciate that and to really put our heart and soul into it in really looking at how we can collectively appreciate the melting pot of cultures that we have and individually singling them out for the uniquenesses that they have.
Yeah.
Being a first generation immigrant, I kind of appreciate that. But the one thing I would say, if I have to say, is I'm from Minnesota. Minnesota, nice people know. And when
are we going to start seeing that?
This story might
We'll let
help
you know a little secret, Glenn.
This story might help you. So some of the experiences I've had, especially in the Western countries outside the US, is I feel people are very rude compared to how they behave and appear in Minnesota.
Right.
For example, if I'm driving and in Minnesota, I see a spot, you generally wait for the car to get out, and then people know that you intend to park there, and nobody else will take it.
Right.
You go to UK, Australia, people will just take opportunistic, even though they see you are waiting, they'll just go and park.
I see you never lived in Brooklyn because it was a war zone there trying to find a parking space, for God's
Right.
sakes. That's what actually made me leave the city for sure. So Sanjay, do you get really tired of every time someone says that you're from Minnesota? They're like, "Oh, you're from Minnesota."
Minnesota.
No, when I came here, people used to ask me, "Where are you from?"
Right.
Now they say, "Oh, you're from India," so they all know where I am from. They rarely say I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Even though I have lived in this country longer than I lived in India.
Wow.
Yes.
I guess that makes sense. How I know how long you've been here, but how old were you when you came over?
21.
That's pretty amazing, because at 21, I couldn't even go out to find my way home from a bar, let alone move away to another country. It was like I said earlier, it was a pretty crazy experience. So, what made you think about starting ideas with Ravi over there? That seems like a pretty alien concept to me, particularly since 32 years ago, nobody had heard of what you guys do.
Well,
I'm sorry,
Glenn, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Glenn. Glenn, I'm sorry to interrupt you guys.
Producer
But
Dave's interrupting us again from New York. Yes, Dave.
I don't know if we covered this, but why don't you guys give the audience an idea of what Ideas does, and then kind of follow up into the answer to your question, Glenn.
So, all right. So let's have Mike do that. Mike, give a quick. We won't call it a sales pitch right now because we are not at the shameless plug section of the show soon. When we get to Plug-a-Palooza, we'll do it again. But give us a good idea of what you all do, so people understand.
So one of the most important things that hotel owners are looking for is money to the bottom line, and that gets you get those with two things. Producer Dave knows this with a hotel and a revenue management. You have to get the right rates, you have to get the right occupancy. So we collect data from the PMS or from the hotel property management system and other sources, ingest that in to dynamically optimize the right price at the right time to get the right business in. It sounds like a simple concept, but it takes a large amount of machine learning and in some cases AI to ensure that we can get the hotel owners and the brands themselves to get the right business, the most profitable business. So we are the world's largest revenue management company for the hospitality industry.
Wow, that's awesome. So apparently, I just got a text. Somebody's calling me. My American Express card was lost. Somebody found it. So forgive me. I've got to respond to this text. So I'm going to let Greg take over for 1 second.
We're going to pop Greg. We're going to
I'll let you know a little secret. I used my corporate card the other day. Get some supplies for this. And I got 2 fraud alerts because they said, you haven't bought liquor for business in a long time. So what's going on here?
So you launched this company 32 years ago. You've been the #1 revenue management company. What kind of sell was that initially when you were going back to the hoteliers and going, hey, we can really help you optimize all of this? What was that like?
It was very hard. I mean, when we started, it was more of an education to the whole world. I mean, we started our company and we did revenue management for airlines. Northwest Airlines and US Air were our premier clients at that time. But at one point, we decided to build a product, and hotel industry seemed to be the right market to go, except hotel industry was not really familiar with the concept of revenue management.
The hotel industry isn't familiar with anything with the concept of technology.
Right.
So you guys had like a real hard go, I'm sure, to really get people to understand what you were trying to accomplish for folks.
It is. And so over a period of time, by giving examples of how technology like ours could help, for example, we would ask a question to the general manager, say, do you have days when you have too much demand and you are typically turning down business? So,
right.
Yeah, of course. A business hotel would say, yeah, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are crazy. We don't have enough rooms. I wish I had more rooms. I said, well, do you have days where you don't have very many people? And they said, yeah, my shoulder days are very bad. I could do with more business. I paid a fair amount of money to get more business.
Right.
So he said, well, what about if we give you a system which will automatically, based on the price they're paying, turn down one-night stays, put length of stay restrictions so that you don't take one-night stays, you don't take two-night stays, and it will do it optimally for you. And that will create a lot more business. It will raise your shoulders because you're taking the right length of stay people. Would that make a difference? He said, well, probably do. Then we said, well, do you have a 6 p.m. guarantee rate? They said, oh, all my rates are 6 p.m. guarantee. So do you have days where at 9 a.m. you come in and you say, well, looks good, I'll be 100% full. And by 4 p.m. you get 15 cancellations. I say, yeah, of course we do. We happen also. It bugs the hell out of me, but it happens every time, and it's part of doing business. Right?
Yeah.
I said, how about if we mathematically figure out for you how many people you should overbook?
Yeah.
And yes, for once in a while you may have to walk a person, but over a period of time you make a lot more money than you otherwise.
And that's pretty similar to what you experience it with airlines, for example, right? Trying to really maximize that revenue and opportunity, even if every once in a while you got to take a hook. Amy Montgomery, I know she's out there in the crowd wearing a Grumpy Glenn t-shirt. I don't know why people think I am grumpy. I think there's a whole lot of bunk right there. I don't get grumpy about anything, and I get really pissed off when people think I'm grumpy. But Dave, you're being accused of looking extremely serious. In fact, you've got a resting Anthony face, I think, going on right now.
Well, I have my resting Anthony face on for two reasons. One, because I put in the chat to not put that up yet because I was trying to find a nice picture to add to it. So thanks, Glenn, for blowing my spot. Appreciate that. Two, I'm actually focusing because this is really good conversation for stuff that I do, right? So I'm actually going to be learning stuff here. So
you're not going to be learning anything at this conversation, Dave.
It's a very right. But I got a question for Mike and Sanjay because Mike, you mentioned that the software you're using is very learning intensive, right? The artificial intelligence needs to learn. So a lot of the softwares that are similar to yours, they do the same kind of concept of learning from historicals. And 2020 flipped all of that on top of itself, right? Yeah. Sanjay was saying that Tuesdays and Mondays are typically busy for business hotels, and now they're not. So how have you guys adapted? How has your software adapted to everything kind of falling all over itself and kind of resetting itself when you are reliant in a way on a lot of historical data?
Yeah, historical data is one thing. That's what's going to populate what you know and how you can build the models and how those models can build out those frameworks and parameters. I'll hit on it a little bit and then I'll toss it over to Sanjay to talk about some of the science of it. But in actuality, what you're doing is you're not necessarily throwing out the data, you're adjusting the algorithms. And the systems that we've built allows for those algorithms to truly understand what the disruption in demand is. And if you can understand and at least identify what that disruption in demand is, you're going to be able to build those models so they can continuously learn. All of the decisions that come in that machine learning continues to update, teach, and also respond to how you're interacting with the system. And as we build out the changes and the adjustments to those algorithms, the disruption in demand actually makes the forecast continuously more accurate as you're going through. You can then start looking at other things like, not just your pace data, but you can look at your special events data or the adjustment of those special events data to be able to continue to inform that. Anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, first of all, the pandemic has hit different areas very differently. I mean, you may have heard that the leisure market is really doing well, and the hotels which were on the ocean front where people could drive to have had the best year ever, even much better than 2019 even, and they have a fair amount of utilization of the same kind of concept because weekends would be a lot more busy rather than yes, urban hotels there would be not a good utility for length of stay controls because they are hurting for business and stuff. But we also do pricing, so maintaining the right price in this confused market is very important. Just dumping your price down will not generate new demand. The demand will whatever it is, and you need to make sure that you are priced right to make the most of the demand that you actually get.
Yeah.
So there are many aspects of revenue management.
Yeah. And it's understanding how you can as proactively and reactively as possible, understand how to manage your business mix. And predicting that business mix is can be difficult, but understanding where you're coming in, where your business is coming in at, what you have to do with your rates and floors to be able to make sure you minimize those adjustments. I mean, it's not as simple as going back to like the Susskind Hotel where you're only really managing a one-room hotel. You're getting yourself to understanding the complexities of the business motions and understanding what you can do in market and what those feeder markets are bringing into you to help continue to drive that.
Dave, you're a revenue guy over there, right? So what are they saying over here? Could you translate it to English for me? Because I'm not that bright.
Well, wait a minute. After everything that was said about me, now I can be the translator.
Listen, I'm just trying to be a nice guy over here. I'm completely lying. I don't really care what you have to say, but what are you going to do?
Well, basically, long story short, they're saying that their software does a great job at finding the demand patterns and making sure that the right rates and availability are set at the right times. If that's the real layman terms of it. But Craig, I got a question for you because you are, obviously very into development. You have a very successful career in development. How important is it for developers to feel confident that a system like Sanjay and Mike's is available for a new build or a renovated or a new buy, so that they can, new owners or prospective companies can feel confident going into a hotel that they're going to maximize their returns?
And of course, we're talking about ideas, gentlemen.
It's critical. You've got a pro forma that you need to prove. You've got your loan based on the acquisition, on the numbers you gave them, and revenue management is crucial. You've got to also not just cut your rate. You've also got to look at the area that your hotel's in. Now, California coastal, my state of expertise, we've got groups up there that have got 15 to 20 hotels, from San Luis Obispo all the way up, and they've been running 90% occupancy for at least a year, if not almost a year and a half now. So revenue management is a huge portion of that. And my question to you guys is what's on the horizon? What is your biggest challenge as a revenue management company? How are you going to help your clients get through the remainder of this year and into next year? What do you see out on the horizon?
And you better make it funny.
I'll leave Mike to do that.
We got serious there for a second. What the hell happened?
Yeah. So you seriously, you're tossing that over to me?
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Well, I'm just joking. It doesn't have to be funny.
No, I can answer it. I think it's interesting because what you're looking at is that we mentioned things like, portfolio, how you look at making sure the hotel is valued appropriately. All of those things kind of combine into how you're matching, when you're looking at your segments and you're being able to change the way that your hotel is reacting to the competitive set as your business mix changes, right? If you're traditionally a high group house and you're now leisure and transient segment, you're obviously going to want to look to optimize the total profitability of your house a little bit different. Maybe looking at ways to adjust your food and beverage packages. So, but holistically, to answer the question of what are we doing to be able to better the industry, when you ask what we did, what ideas is that we gave you the revenue management answer.
Right.
But the real answer of what we're doing to continue to disrupt the industry and blaze a trail is we see ourselves as being the purveyors in the light at the end of the tunnel that everybody's looking towards as we help transition the back office to a digital transformation into a connected commercial strategy. And what that means is that revenue management is one of the things that is the building block between all of the items in the 4 Ps, if you will, in that commercial suite. So if you map that back to how you're valuing a hotel, you're going to understand what your price analytics and your market penetration study is going to be. You're going to be able to better communicate with the lenders as to how you see your business mix is going to continue to adjust and how you're going to adjust to it, so you can figure out, do I need to be able to look at readjusting some cap rates, et cetera. All of that basically ties itself together for us being able to ensure that you've not only got the right rooms revenue forecast, you've got the right pricing and occupancy decisions going out to the OTAs, to the direct business and the PMSs, but you're also focusing on the ability for you to understand the other operational efficiencies inside of the hotels. Now, as we go through this digital back office transformation, we don't want to just do it for the luxury properties. We want to do it for all properties. And that's the most important part, because you've got, I think the stat announced today by AHOA is that 60% of the properties in the United States are owned by AHOA members.
Right.
You've got 40% of those are luxury properties, right? The portfolios
Right.
of this set is dramatically becoming more diversified. And you have to have a solution that allows for you to adjust as to how you can give the right things for the right properties without basically bringing everything, you've got a hammer so everything's a nail. So making sure that property owners in the limited and select service industry can take advantage of basic revenue management, cost of servicing, and other types of aspects to be able to drive the right rate. It's not always about revenue; it's about profit. Right? How much money can you get down to the bottom line on your NOI?
So I just want to add a line in this whole thing. I mean, ultimately the owner, this convention is about owners.
Mm-hmm.
See, ultimately the owner is looking for profitability, and there are only two ways of getting profitability: either increase revenue or decrease costs.
Right.
And our solutions are all aimed at increasing your revenue in many ways in totally automated manner.
Now I'm completely confused because I thought this was about increasing our blood alcohol content.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Well, but you guys kind of led me into the next question I had, which is there's been kind of a theme even before COVID, but I certainly think coming out of COVID as margins kind of shrink, certain costs increase, about revenue managers kind of becoming and transitioning more into profit managers and making sure that reservations are coming through the proper distribution channels to make sure you're maximizing that profit and that you're getting, you're not paying too high in commissions to OTAs or other sources. So how does ideas and just a general revenue management strategy, how does that shift change take place, and how are you guys kind of leading the way in that?
Yeah. So I mean, we do forecasting by channel, so we can forecast how much you're getting out of your OTAs, even by which particular OTA. We can forecast how much you get through your brand.com, through GDS and other things. And then we enable tools to optimize your channels. Keep in mind, with current OTAs, the degrees of freedom are limited to availability. You cannot change the price on OTA. You cannot say, I'll put a different price on Expedia versus what I do at brand.com. But I can definitely close brand.com when I don't need, close OTA when I don't need it. So, but being able to forecast and optimize and those channels is a good way of doing that. When we do that, we do using profit optimization. So we account for cost of the channel, how much commission. So how much does it cost me to get a reservation in brand.com? How much does it cost me to get a reservation from Expedia or Booking? So that's kind of folded into our net revenue optimization.
Yeah, I think that's so important, right? Because, and Craig, again, you could talk to this, when it comes to the development side, top line revenue does not flow to the bottom the same way through every distribution channel. And it really does make a significant impact, where your mix is coming from. And it will flow down differently, significantly differently, based on the mix you have.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's why I mentioned earlier the business mix and how you monitor that business mix and how you choose to turn those rates on and off, what Sanjay stated. One, from acquisition channel, but then number two, as to how you look at how you want to handle that business mix, the rates that you want to close off, but most importantly, how quickly your system can help you make that decision or make that decision for you, which is a major difference between other revenue management systems and ourselves, is that we do that through automation, through artificial intelligence and machine learning, so we can make that decision quicker to allow you to ensure that you can monitor and you can take advantage of the profitability that you're going to throw down based upon whatever channel it needs to flow into the bottom line.
Yeah, Craig?
I was going to say, this is great for the group that's starting to grow. If you've got one or two select service hotels and now you're going to make that jump into boutique hotel, or you've got some full service properties, you've got dual branded properties, and this is revenue performance. You've got to understand all the facets and the monetization, of each segment that you're in. Now, you had a show a while ago, and I had a show a while ago, Glenn, where we talked about Trev Bar. Okay, total revenue per available room. Vegas has done that on an outstanding level for decades. Some of your better destination resorts.
We've done that at the House Resort Pool Club and Smokehouse. Unfortunately, we're up to 0 revenue for when my friends come over.
Is that because of the smokehouse component?
Yes, the smokehouse is great. But I did want to tell producer David, do not get him started on a serious subject. Okay.
I know.
Glenn, this is about fun and games, David.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. This is
that's the last serious thing I'm going to say.
Yeah,
we're geeking out over here.
Glenn, live it.
Right, Glenn, live it. That is the motto. And we got to have a little bit of fun. And first of all, I want to thank Mike Chuma for descending from heaven to be with us today. It's your glow is absolutely spectacular over there. But Glenn Libet is just touching it's the tip of the iceberg for the alcohol that you've had in your life, because you used to be a bartender. I understand, right?
Oh, me too. Yay!
Cool. Glenn, I don't know how to take that lead in.
I think you should take it in the way it was intended, poorly.
Yeah.
Glenn's just trying to do a transition to a little more lighthearted topic, because listen,
right.
So you get me. So basically, where you're taking me is and you haven't picked up on my cues, because I've mentioned the Susskind Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned Mull it over. I haven't talked about Bivouac One.
Yep.
So you haven't taken the bait yet. But there we go. But you asked me about bartending, right? So in my bio, and I'm not joking, the most educational job that I ever had was when I was a room service attendant and bartender at the Grove Hotel in Boise, Idaho.
That's pretty interesting.
I know that hotel.
You do?
Yeah, they're a client of ours. And so I worked there for a very short period of time. It was after my stint in going into hospitality, where I was a 18-year-old don't tell the state of Idaho bar back in Chicago and downtown Boise.
With the jobs and immediately before your stint upstate.
Upstate, yeah, in the Cottonwood Correctional Facility, for those that know the area.
Yeah.
But so the thing is like if you bring about bartending, what that did, and waiting tables, and I did it even when I had a professional career on nights and weekends, partly because the money was good in the private room service, but what it did is it taught you how to be nimble. It taught you how to kind of think on your feet, but most importantly, it taught you that pineapple mentality of like your job is to make people's experience good. And so I think that's hopefully served me well. I know my mates out in the audience are going to tell me that it didn't, but
But by the way, grilled pineapple, absolutely delicious. I recommend everyone to try it.
As featured by Glenn Smokehouse.
Yes, it is.
We had this conversation on a previous show. Now I'm going to have to ask you, Mike, Sanjay,
Dave.
Do you put pineapple on your pizza?
No.
Do you see this man? He has self-respect and dignity, for God's sakes. What do you?
Listen now, Mike. Now wait. Do you put ketchup on your hot dog?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
Here's the thing.
Maybe I chose to not hear.
No, you chose not to hear it because you are a smart man, Mike. And Sanjay, I don't
give me
mean
too much credit.
I don't really mean to. I know you guys are here as our guests. I don't mean to disgust you, but he likes to have ketchup with American cheese on his hot dogs. I'm a nice Jewish boy from New York. We like, we like spicy brown mustard with sauerkraut and a natural skin. But this guy, he doesn't seem to get it.
I was trying to look on the street for a vendor. I was going to run down and get a.
Right. Yeah, Sanjay,
yeah. My mom likes ketchup on her pizza.
On pizza, actually, my dad had ketchup in his spaghetti when he was a kid, back in like the 1940s and stuff like that.
That's just poor Italian.
Right. but I guess, poor Jew, poor Italian, same exact kind of a thing over there for sure.
Sounds like my freshman year college spaghetti sauce.
And probably lots of top ramen.
Yes,
as well.
It was ketchup and top ramen.
Craig, what's your favorite college food?
I don't know if I'd call it food, but it was an adult beverage, and you could never have more than two of them or you're going to the ER, and that was Old English 800 or Mickey's Big Mouth. They were both horrible, but when we Collective House only had a few dollars, it went a long way.
All right, so we've got the bartender coming up in
Being courted by Garth, who's been with them for 14 and a half years, finally serves a good purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Sanjay, I have a question for you, right? So, as you talked about your mom, how she liked ketchup on pizza, but I want to go back to prior to being, coming to the United States and at the ripe young age of 21, coming out of, I believe it was IIT, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what was your first job before Ideas? And and if not, have you had any other jobs other than Ideas?
Yes,
Before you answer that, IIT is at the India Institute of Technology. All right,
Sorry.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes, I've only had one real job in my life, and I used to work at Bell Laboratories in Homedale, New Jersey. At that time, they were.
You get to work in one of those buildings that have no windows.
No, they do have.
Okay.
They have a lot of windows, but it's a place for all nerds who gather together and invent kind of things. They've invented everything from lasers to radios. To, transistors was one of the biggest, which has changed the whole computer industry.
I honestly, all joking aside, I think transistors is probably the most important invention in the 20th century, if not in human history.
Right. Absolutely.
You can't joke about that.
No, I'm not allowed. I'm actually legally contracted not to. So sorry. Please continue.
Yeah. So that was my first and only job. So I worked there for 3 years, and then we started Ideas after that.
Wow.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Mike, when did you join Ideas?
I joined actually 5 years ago in the next couple of weeks.
Wow. Congratulations.
On my 5-year anniversary, yeah.
So what made you give up bartending? Was it, Ideas or?
I gave up bartending quite a long while ago. You're giving me a lot more credit for my age.
Yeah.
But no, I joined Ideas because previously I was at a company called Digital River. And if you're not familiar with them, they're an international software as a service e-commerce company. And so worked on some of the larger accounts, building subscription platforms and product e-commerce platforms in the subscription industry, software as a service industry, and online gaming industry, embedded commerce. So I'd like to tell my kids, if you played Grand Theft Auto and you bought something inside of Grand Theft Auto, your dad helped build that payment gateway.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It was fun, right? Previous to that, I was in an online grocery, and that obviously it was a bad time to be in it then. It's a really good time to be in it now. But, I came to Ideas because actually, and this is a true story. I was sitting, first, Sanjay called me, and it was like July 4th or 5th, and I was in the backyard of my in-laws' house. First sitting on a hammock, then pacing back and forth. And he said, well, do you really want to come work here? And I said, well, I'm on the phone on vacation with you right now, so I'm obviously interested. And then number 2 was a follow-up conversation that was around like, well, tell me about the applicability of what you're doing. And
right.
How can, we want to grow the organization to be not just a single, threaded software as a service provider, but what else can you do? And we got into this concept of talking about broad data sets and unconstraining the demand and things that you can do with demand and supply. And we started talking about Tesla. And at that time, Tesla was talking about being able to rent your Tesla back into a pool so you could put it out into service. How would we look at that? And that was the business problem that really got me interested. And when I took a look at what we were doing at that time, I saw a massive amount of growth potential and the ability to then not just grow within the hospitality vertical in the hotel sector, deepen it, but really start to looking at how can you truly digitally transform the back office of a revenue operation. And I think we have a good solid foundation with Ideas.
I love that you're so into this. It's really it's pretty neat. But I guess you got to live it and breathe it and experience it.
You've got folks like Sanjay and Ravi that kind of impart that passion, and then so you sit down and we have some knockdown, drag out conversations. He oftentimes knocks me down and drags me out of the door, but it's especially when it comes to data science. So, but yeah, it's fun. It's been educational. It's challenging.
Let's be about fun, educational, and challenging. I want to hear more about this bartending thing. Honestly, what are some of the more challenging experiences you've had with certain customers?
Oh,
there's so many stories. I'm sure.
Sorry.
So there's so many stories. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, so I used to have a regular, and I can't say his name, but he was the CEO of a Fortune 20 grocery organization in the United States. He exited on his jet, of which they stopped in the middle of the country, let him off, and flew back after the acquisition. But this gentleman was, he actually made me go out and buy because the bar was out of a specific type of scotch, oddly enough.
Right.
And he made me go out and he said, I don't want your people to do that. I want you to get in your car and go buy it at the liquor store and bring it back and serve it to me. And so that's when I was like, I realized I'm dealing with a guy that's about to get $100 million paycheck.
Right.
I told him no. I said, I'm not going to do that.
And then what?
And then he tried to get the manager to fire me.
And no tip.
So yeah,
that was a pretty tame story for a bartender, because I used to bartend.
You know what?
Way wilder than that.
This is a PG-13 show, so I really don't want to get into some of that.
Look, I was trying to make it R-rated, but you went ahead and screwed it all up for us. This is very disappointing, Craig. I got to be honest with you.
Come on, give us names. I know.
Yeah, I mean, you work in the nightclub industry, and I did it for a while, but it's since escaped me. I've tried to purge some of that from my memory.
Purge,
Yes.
blackout, whatever you want to call it. We all have different expressions for that, for sure. Craig, what do you think? What are you thinking about there?
I'm thinking that he's got some really interesting stories from his days as a bartender, but I look at the opportunity that was created nearly 5 years ago when you came on board, Mike, over at Ideas, and everything that you guys have been going through and growing your company and helping out the hospitality community is just amazing. That's what I'm thinking.
No, thank you. It's a lot of it is from the foundation of what this guy did
No,
here.
it's a team.
Yeah.
It takes a
It always
village to
takes a
make these
team.
things.
Yeah.
Right. You guys, Sanjay
That's
wants
why
to say
Glenn
it's
and I are
Mike's.
so good. We're a team.
Yes.
Yep.
Sanjay wants to say it's Craig. Mike wants to say it's Craig. Listen, guys, let's just get it right. It was all me. It was all me.
It's all you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Dave,
Congratulations.
I got to be honest with you. You're a
Where
little
did you
bit.
get that
You're a little
from?
bit low on the volume over there, but
Dave, all you have to say is, who's got two thumbs? This guy.
yeah.
Bob Kelso.
So, Sanjay, what was the biggest adjustment you had to make when you came to the United States? When it came to your food, the way that you lived, social experiences, what was the most jarring thing that you had to change about your life
Yeah.
to fit in as an American?
Right. I had to adjust to daylight savings time. Like, I'll tell you a story.
Wow, that's really rough. That's a
I know.
hard travel story over there.
Totally didn't expect that.
I know.
It has a story behind it. So
It's like the 10-hour difference was fine, but that extra hour, that just ruined
It's
everything.
the 30 minutes is what it is.
yeah, because it screwed up my whole schedule one day. I reached for a lecture, and actually it was a test. And I reached the class, and there's nobody there.
Oh,
I said, ooh, what happened here? And I kept on waiting, and I got nervous. Maybe I went to the wrong place. And then somebody told me, oh, the clock is wrong now. It's 1 hour.
Yep. Oops.
I had never heard of daylight saving before that.
All right, Sanjay, pro tip: spring forward, fall back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Dave
pesky
puts
30-minute
ketchup and
difference.
mustard and hot dogs.
No.
Yeah, so it's weird when there are certain time zones that do that 30-minute thing. I'll tell you, that's really.
I hope everybody's been taking their drinks every time Glenn turns away from the camera, because, man, if you have been, you're going to forget a lot of your bartending
I'm
days.
just looking away from the camera now to aggravate you, dude.
Well, henceforth, why? Ken, how are you, sir?
Hello, Ken Green. Woo!
Ken Green! Give it to him, too.
Yeah, so this is how Garth, proved his worth here, as because Glenn was looking away from the camera so many times.
Yep, I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Mike, it's just because you're so sexy. I can't keep my eyes off you.
Stop it. So Sanjay, I have a question for you. So we've traveled a lot together. A lot of the people out in the crowd we've traveled with. What's been one of your favorite trips that we've done, either from business or just gallivanting the world? What's one of your favorite areas to go to, and why?
Yeah. Are you talking about my favorite vacation?
No,
Or
your
business
favorite
trip?
place to go on business. I know that's boring. Then we can go into vacation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I would say I like going to UK. Definitely. London is one of the best cities. Fortunately enough, I've been going there for many years.
So then I've got an important question about the UK. At being an Indian gentleman, better curry your hometown or somewhere in the UK?
hometown.
Yeah, all right. Good, because it's always amazing to me that India has influenced UK so much that curry is like their national dish, which is pretty impressive. I have not been to India, but I've been to UK, and I've never had better Indian food in my life.
Well, that's the second best after India.
I've got to. And one of the things about Indian cuisine is that I've never wanted vegetarian food more in my life. Right. You know, it's one of those things that you don't feel like you're missing meat. Because here in America, I grew up in a real meat potatoes kind of society, so it's pretty interesting how different Indian society comes when it comes to that.
Yes, vegetarian food is very delicious, and there is so much.
I want to just point out that Mike. I just want to say that Mike is such a go-getter. I'm leaning close to the computer now because I know it's tough to hear me, but Mike is such a go-getter. Mike is such a proactive person that not only has he risen to the level he has and ideas, but he literally hijacked our show, took over the host chair, and is now asking Sanjay questions himself without even asking for permission. He just did it. That's a guy you want to have on your team.
That's definitely right. I'd like to make an announcement. Mike is going to be taking over the hosting position of No Vacancy Live, replacing Anthony come next week.
You still won't be able to talk, Glenn.
I think we've just got this thing.
I know, right?
There we go.
We definitely have a connection over there. Sanjay?
No, I would say, can you explain introduce us to the person behind you, Dave?
That's Bill Ding.
That is Bill Ding, yes.
Sorry. Hold on. Wait. I got to do this one.
I knew it was coming. So actually, it's a mural, obviously, behind me as part of my hotel, so you can see it. And it's by world-renowned artist Cobra, and it's part of a series of various murals that he did throughout New York. So this is one of them. There's, I think, 13 others throughout the city. So it's kind of a cool, unique feature of the property because it's obviously the only one of its kind. It is by world famous Cobra, who you can see right down there right over my head now. You can see his signing.
Next time I go to New York, I'm going to be looking for it.
Yeah.
You come see me.
Yeah, he's over at the Even Hotel, Midtown East, so you can go visit him any single time. He's usually stuck in the basement, though, strapped to the desk over there, trying to make sure that hotel is super profitable. So that's pretty cool. We're actually starting to run out of time. We've only got like 5 minutes or so left. But Craig, you got any more topics that you want to talk about?
I think we've covered everything. I think I can't wait to see what's next with Dream and what they're doing over there. So
yeah, well, I will tell you something. So guys, so we were doing this broadcast last night from the AT&T Discovery District thing and all of that, and we were having trouble getting drinks, but Del Ross over at Hotel Effectiveness was nice enough to bring us some cocktails. And then as I was breaking down the gear, I spilled beer all over my equipment. So I want people to understand that though I might reek of beer, it's not me, it's the machinery. I want to apologize for that, but thankfully the Michelob Ultra over there didn't destroy my computer, so I've got that going for me.
Well, here's my important question. Glenn, obviously you guys are all together. You're at a HOA. There's going to be some great events tonight. So what are some of the after parties you're targeting, and will you get in?
All right. So the interesting thing about this, I don't know about you guys, but there aren't a lot of after parties because this group really stays together. They do massive events, and they go super late. Typically, and I haven't looked at the schedule this year, but they usually have a lot of Bollywood stars, and that goes on super late, for example. So there's not a lot of room for other types of parties. There might be some small franchising related get-togethers, but other than that, it's not like Alice. It's not like the NYU investment conference. So I didn't have to deal with being rejected on this trip, Dave.
Well, one day that's a story for another Friday night about me and Glenn hopping around Midtown trying to get in somewhere.
Yeah, that was the worst. That was the worst. You don't even understand, guys, because I'm trying to look like a badass. We're just getting to know him, and we're at the NYU investment conference. Like, yeah, man, we know everybody, no problem, no big deal. No, you can't come into this party. No, you can't come into our party. No, don't even think about getting into our party.
Yeah, it's like you're not cool enough. Right.
Right. That's how I felt when I went to a particular hotel brand when they first launched about 15, 20 years ago. I would go there. They're all standing there in their black, looking really cool and ignoring me. It made me feel like I was like, back in second grade, not being picked for the kickball team. It's very sad.
Yeah, I've experienced that as well. even to the points
that's
where they
funny.
didn't allow us to have the complimentary ice cream for the people that were waiting in line, and I was very disappointed.
That is really sad, dude. I mean, that's the entire reason why I existed, is to try to get that free ice cream. Goodness. All right, so I think we should probably move to the portion of the show that you all request. The portion, the reason why you tune in, what you all love. Of course, I'm talking about. That's right. It's time for Plug-a-Palooza. There was a chance for all of you out there to plug what you're up to. And by all of you out there, I don't mean Craig. I don't mean Dave. I certainly don't mean me. I mean Sanjay and Mike. Guys, you have earned a free plug. Take it away. I'm going to put you on a single shot so we can really experience it.
All right. You want me to take this away, or you got it?
Yeah, you do.
All right. So thank you very much, Glenn, for having us. Ideas. We're the world's leading revenue management software as a service organization, but we're not just revenue management. We're transitioning in to drive the digital transformation of the back office, powering the connected commercial organization. Come check us out at ideas.com. Learn about what we do, learn about the segments that we can provide service to, but most importantly, learn about how we can make you more money and drive more profit to your bottom line.
And that is really important. Breaking news, Red Edwards say lots of curry in Jamaica. Delicious. I've never had curry in Jamaica.
If you're paying attention to the show, Glenn, I already had that up there. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, I was not paying attention. I don't focus on anything that you do, Dave. Why is this news to you? But it really took me away because I have had curry in Jamaica, Queens, just not Jamaica. Jamaica. I don't know about that. Craig, you got a plug over there, brother?
Hey, you know what? It's getting ready for Click 5 live and in person October 5th, JW Marriott in the Anaheim Resort area. And Glenn will be there as always, and some of our other sponsors are here at AhoaCon. And Miss Amy Montgomery, our #1 fan, has got a Grumpy Glenn t-shirt on. So
Can we bring Amy on for a second? Can she come on
Amy,
and get on camera?
Come on over here. Dave is requesting your appearance on the show. So come on, jump up, hang out next to Craig over there. All right, we'll put you on the
give me Amy a one shot.
Show off that sexy shirt.
Can I see the Grumpy Glenn t-shirt? I love it. And of course, we didn't do our promotion today. If you want to get your very own Grumpy Glenn t-shirt, Glenn, Craig, where can you go to get it?
Glenn,
wait, hold on.
Where can I get a Grumpy Glenn t-shirt?
Thank you. Well, of course, you could go to Redbubble, the Aloha Craig store. Oh, and by the way, Craig, our friend Colleen said she couldn't find it. So I just wanted to let you know that some of their products, because Dave, last week on the show, you had all these great T-shirts and they're not up there. So you guys gotta work on
I
that.
mentioned that day that we're going to get up, but they're not up there yet. But Colleen, reach out to me, send me a DM, and we'll get you dialed in.
And I want to tell Amy, if you want to say something, speak right into that mic if you don't mind.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. I thought you wanted to say something.
No, I just said the Grumpy Glenn shirt. That's all.
Yep. First of all, again, I'd like to say not grumpy.
Totally grumpy.
I have been.
Funny Glenn.
Especially
How about Funny Glenn?
Thank you.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's usually followed by the word looking. But what are you gonna do on that case? All right, Dave, your
Bye,
time
Amy.
for a shameless plug.
So same thing as usual. Obviously, Times Square today. We filmed another episode yesterday. They did the August episode, so we're going to get that edited and get it out there in the next few days. But it's a really great episode. We have a great guest who is the director of arts for the Times Square Alliance, and she's the one putting together some amazing projects throughout Midtown. So you got to check that one out. And of course, we have the Times Square today for September coming up shortly, which we're going to cover the opening of Broadway. So a lot of great stuff.
I can't wait for that, dude.
I know. I'm super excited on that. And can we tell them what we're doing for No Vacancy Live at this point? You know, little teaser.
I have no idea what you're referring to, so sure.
We're going to be actually, again, No Vacancy live from Times Square.
Oh, we've talked about
for the opening of Broadway, September 14th. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out next Wednesday's episode of No Vacancy Live, because we're doing, again, a first time ever in our almost 500 episodes, a dual remote. It's going to be amazing. Some great guests are coming on. So a lot going on here for the No Vacancy family of shows.
That is awesome. I can't wait to be broadcasting again from Times Square. It's going to be really awesome if you guys take the chance to come down and say hello to us while we're over there. Also, we got a lot of great shows coming up. We'll be back here live at AHOA tomorrow. And then on Friday, I am going to rest, but we got a special show coming up on Saturday, pre-recorded just before with Talene Staub. She's the VP Global Head of True Hotels by Hilton. They recently hit 200, so we're celebrating that. Next week, we'll do a few shows from home. Then I'm going to be doing Friday Night Audit on the 13th from Atlantic City. Then we're doing a Friday Night Audit on the 20th from the Planet Hollywood Resort, Cancun in Mexico. Then the week after that, I'll be back at the House and Resort Pool Club and Smokehouse, and I'll be at the end of my vacation, Craig, so don't expect much from me on that one. I want to thank everybody for being here. Guys, this was awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
more importantly, forget ideas. Thank you so much for the cocktails. We really appreciate it. And we really appreciate all of you giving us all the support. We love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of Friday Night Audit. I'm stalling because I got to put on this. We are ending the show right now.